Hey guys, I wanted to take you outside because, man, I'm starting to see some color in the trees. Can you see it back there? Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit. Oh man, let's see. Can we see back in there? Starting to see the color show up. Y'all, today is a day that absolutely feels like fall. For the first time this year, I'm giddy because I love the fall weather. At my house, it's an exciting time. I cannot stand the summer, just to be honest with you. Maybe the tan, maybe that's the only thing I like about it, but gosh, it's gonna be great. So anyway, we got a few things here around the house. Let me show you a little something. We go to the pumpkin patch every year there in Mayflower as a family. And we took a whole crew this year. It was so much fun. And so we got little, look at that. Oh, doesn't look near as cool on the camera. Anyway, so it was it's a great time though. I love this time of year. Today we're going to talk about something really important. We're going to talk about two things that are going to go together that you may have never connected, but I promise you they are intimately connected. And that is weight like heaviness, weight, and worry. And I'm going to talk to you about how that weight loss and worry, these two are connected together. If you don't connect them, you're going to be in trouble. That's what we're going to talk about today. You know, we are going to talk today about worry and weight. I have a real treat for you today. I have an interview that I did. I did it several weeks, it may have been months ago. A great friend of mine, her name is Marseille. You're going to see some stuff here. We'll put some pictures in here for you to see. Marseille and her husband Rob and their three boys are absolutely an amazing family. Been friends of mine for, a long, long time. Marseille is an expert in the area of food. She's like really good at knowing what is healthy and what is good. And then she makes food that's healthy and good taste really good. She's like really good. She needs to be encouraged to go ahead and produce a cookbook. She needs a YouTube channel. So you guys help me sort of encourage her to do that because Marseille is absolutely a genius when it comes to food. And so she was one of those people when I prayed about this that I wanted to talk to. And I just wanted to share with you the conversation we had. Marseille lives in Tennessee, so we did this via FaceTime. And so we recorded that on my laptop. So the video is going to be a little bit different than the normal interviews that we've done, but it's really a good video. So I don't want to belay this too much, but I will say this. As always, in the description of this video is a PDF. We created a graphic that's kind of going to show you the 4 areas that we're working in and what I'm working in my particular weight loss, my journey of trying to adventure towards health. And so that's going to let you see that we're going to keep building on these 4 topics in this message series that on the YouTube channel called My Fat Camp. So we're going to Fat Camp. We're getting Fat Camp training. So anyway, there's that. And so you can download that. It's always free. We're always going to give stuff away. That's just kind of how this thing's going to work. But that's going to be there. One of the things I want to share with you, and one of the reasons why I wanted to share Marseille's interview with you now, is as I started into this process, I've been tweaking and adjusting the way that I'm kind of dealing with this plan that I put together. It's not like scientific. I took pieces from here and there, and I'm like, hey, this is kind of what works for me. A lot of what I'm doing has to do with my psychology more than it has to probably do with the particular type of nutrition that someone might be looking for. And I'm sure there's some health people out there that are going to look at this and go, man, that's not really a good plan. I'd love for your input. So if you see something, you go, this is a bad idea, don't do it that way, throw that in there and, maybe we make some adjustments. About a month ago, I got down to, no, it's been about 3 weeks ago, I guess. I was at about 259. I'd been at 259, 260 for a long time. If you guys remember, I think I started at 287. So I got down to 260. I'd had to make a couple of adjustments along the way. That's on the last video if you want to hear some of those adjustments. But at 259, 260, I hit a wall. I mean, just literally nothing was changing. I wasn't really doing anything different from what I'd started with, but my body had either adjusted, something happened. and it just wasn't working anymore. And so I was really struggling. So I went back, drilled into the conversation that I'd had with Marseille, and I'm going to share some of these clips with you and have you listen to what she said. And I went back and made some adjustments. And since then, as of this morning, I don't have my phone with me. I'll throw a picture up there for you. I'm at 252, and that's over a 1 week span. So from a 1 week span, I was at 259. Now I'm at 252. I'm almost in the 240s, y'all. I celebrate because of, how much overweight I was and am. I celebrate when I get into the next category of numbers, So when I got in the 250s, honestly, I haven't been in the 250s in probably 7 or 8 years. I haven't been in the 240s, I would say 12, 15 years ago. I haven't been in the 230s since it would be double digits numbers ago. Someone says, well, what is your goal weight? I'm not really setting that. I think 205, 200, 205 is a good weight for my size and body, but I'll see when I get closer. I'm not really as concerned about that as I am, consistently going forward with this. So anyway, in this interview, this next clip I want to share with you, Marseille has some things to say. Every single person that I've picked out to interview for these videos, these are people that are good at this stuff, y'all. That's why I picked them out. They're people that I've known for a number of years, and number one, they love me, and I love them. They're like my family. But moreover, they're also really in tune with this. This is a lifestyle that they have nailed down. They're good at it. They're experts at what they're doing. And so Marseille has some things to say. So watch this clip with me, and then we'll come back and we'll discuss it. So watch this.
All right. Okay. Well, when you said you're going to put together a plan, who's going to hold you accountable to that plan?
See, that's the kind of questions that I knew you would ask. See, part of it's going to be you guys that I'm talking to, but the other part is going to be the fact that I'm going to be posting a video consistently about what I'm doing and where I'm at. So it's going to be like a really public. And I said this the other day talking to a friend of mine. I said, it's either going to be a public failure, really bad, or it's going to be really good. And he said, the fact that you would say that it could be a failure says that you're giving yourself an out. He said, so let's don't say that anymore at all. So I was like, oh, okay, that's great. Thanks.
Yeah, or you're just being really authentic and real, and people love that, And if you're going to fail, which I don't think you are, it's being real.
Yeah.
It's humility, right?
Yes, I hope.
But I don't think you're going to fail.
Good.
I don't. It takes consistency, and I know most people don't want to hear that word, but that's how you be successful in making this be a lifestyle, is being consistent. Just like how you would tell me or tell anyone to be consistent in the word. You got to be consistent with your healthy choices in your lifestyle. It's not a diet, and it's not a fad, and it's not something that you're just going to stick to for 6 months until you get to your goal weight and then drop off. It doesn't work that way.
It's good.
You got to change the way you're thinking, and this is my life now. Just like when you accept Jesus, this is my life now.
Yeah. So good.
Yeah. So if you notice, there were some key words, and I wrote them down, some words that I think were important for me: accountability and consistency. And both of those are key to, and I found with me, if I go back and I really, and here's the truth. Those of us who have struggled with weight, who struggle with health or whatever, it's not like we don't know these things. I mean, it's not like I'm going, you know what, I didn't realize consistency was important. I didn't realize I needed to have accountability. I know those things. Those things are true, but there's a point where you say, hey, I'm going to participate in those, and I'm going to set those as a goal, and I'm going to really work hard at trying to be consistent and to be accountable. Here's the issue that you have for me. When it comes to weight loss and it comes to, dealing with my health, one of the biggest problems that I have is that the moment that I get off track, I completely lose track of it. It's done. I'm kind of like an alcoholic who proverbially falls off the wagon. I've fallen off the wagon, and that's how it's always been. I felt like such a failure. I normally, have eaten, high carbs and sugar, which makes me incredibly hungry. So now not only do I have this failure on my list, I've got these urges now because the carbs and the sugar have brought these urges right back up in me. And as an overweight person who I would say is an expert at being overweight, I mean, I've got, about 50, I don't know. I was born as a fat baby, so I've got 51 years, really. I may have been fat in the womb. I don't know. I may have 51 years, 9 months of expertise on being overweight. But what would happen with me is anytime there was an interrupter to my plan, I would just kind of jettison everything. And that broke that consistency piece and really, really hurt me, to be honest with you. So here's what I've done for myself. This is not the adjustment that I made that made me start losing weight again. I'm going to get to that. Stick with me on this video for a minute. But what I've programmed in is I've programmed in interrupters. So for instance, we hit a holiday, it's a kid's birthday or something. I may not eat a piece of cake. I got a gluten intolerance, so I mean, do I love cake? I do, but it doesn't love me, and my colon doesn't love it at all. So rather than deal with that, I don't probably do that. But I may eat the meal that's outside of my food window. I may eat a meal that's not consistent with what I've been eating. I may eat late or whatever. I program those in as interrupters, and so what I do is I go, this is the not normal phase of time because of a celebration, because of a banquet, because of a party, because of something, okay? And I make those inconsistent moments something that I know are going to happen, but they don't become the norm. The norm is intermittent fasting. That's my norm. The norm is I'm going to eat one meal a day. I may have a high protein shake with a lot of nutrients and stuff in it later in the day, closer to my 6 o'clock window ending, and I may not. I may leave that completely off. And so I program interrupters. That way I understand that, hey, the kids had a birthday. I went ahead and ate I may have eaten a big deal of barbecue, and I may have eaten a cup of ice cream. I may have done it. But that's not the norm. That's extraordinary. That's not the norm. I'm going to go back to the norm as soon as I'm done with this. That may affect my weight loss for this week, but it doesn't shipwreck what I've been doing. It doesn't kill everything. One meal, y'all, even a day of blowing it does not ruin this thing. And so you have to get that in your mind. If you're going to lose weight, you got to have interrupters programmed in. I want to share with you another clip that Marseille talks about. And this is really literally the adjustment that I had to make to my diet that literally made the difference, and I started losing weight again. So watch this clip with me, and let's see if we can figure some other stuff out as we kind of go along.
Sleep is so important, and even for myself, I notice when I don't have a good night's rest, which is often now because I have a newborn,
Yeah.
the first thing my body wants is sugar and carbs.
Yeah.
And the next day and the next morning. Why? Because your body's saying it needs the sugar to get the engine going.
That's
but
good.
That's not true. That's a lie. Your body really just needs sleep. But cave into that sugar, and I'll go for like a bowl of cereal, and then you're on a carb sugar cycle for the rest of the day, trying to fuel, energize your body, but really you just needed sleep. So kick that lie in your head to the curb and give yourself nutrition. And that's, your body's going to utilize that and do so much more with that than a bowl of cereal. What I mean by nutrition is real food. Food that can grow moldy, quickly. Food that has colorful foods. I'm talking fruits and vegetables, raw nuts and seeds. Oats are great. Real food, whole foods.
Yeah.
So did you hear what she said in that clip? So what Marseille said is that, and I've never recognized it before, but I want you to recognize it with me. Sometimes there are things that we need. If you look at that graphic that's in that PDF file, you're going to see 4 areas of our life that really are fundamental needs that when it comes to the issue of health. Sleep, there's going to be water, there's going to be food, and I can't remember what the other one is, but there's a 4th one. Anyway, and so if you look at those, what's funny is any one of those that is interrupted, we sometimes will supplement the other one for it. So in other words, when we're thirsty, oftentimes we'll eat when we really just needed water. Sometimes when we're sleepy, we think we need food. And so what we'll do is we'll seek out high carb, high calorie food. We get up in the morning, we didn't sleep but a few hours. What do? We grab that big old cup of coffee from Starbucks, and you got the caffeine burst. But what else you've got in there is a ton of sugar. And so, yes, does it give you energy? It does for a moment, and then you're here, and then you're back down here, and then at the bottom of that is a real hunger again. And so now you're hungry again, and your stomach's growling, your body's, craving something else. And so what Marseille's saying is that, and I've done this. This is a cycle that I've been in my life. Is that I will crave something, when I really need something else. So sleep is an important part of that. Rest is an important part of that. But she said at the end, and this is the adjustment that I've had to make, she said real food. Real food. So I told you in past videos I eat pretty much anything that I want, and that's true. I really do. But I have since started trying to add things in. Now, when you're intermittent fasting, you don't eat like a person who's cutting back on calories, all right? It's not the same. For me, I've got one meal that I'm going to use that meal over the next 23 hours until I eat again. Basically, I may put a shake at the very end at 6 p.m., and you can see the last video and understand exactly what I do. But so I'm not going for a low-calorie meal because this is a meal that's going to have to fuel my body for this entire time. I need energy from it and everything else. Here's the problem. I was eating what I wanted. For the most part, it was carbohydrates, starchy stuff. It may be fried food. It may be protein, but not necessarily lean protein. I've since upped my lean protein intake, and I've since upped my vegetable and fruit intake, and I'm trying to eat a lot of it. Because you got to remember, most of these foods take up more space in your stomach. So, you take a high carbohydrate, high caloric count food, it occupies less room in your stomach. So that's the reason why you eat more of it. So, it may only occupy this much of your stomach. It may have 1,000 calories in this much in your stomach. So you eat 3,000 calories of it. Whereas, the lower carbohydrate, low calorie foods may occupy this much of your stomach, but they be just 1,000 calories. So you have to eat quite a bit of it because intermittent fasting is not like trying to cut down on your, like you're trying to cut fat and carbs. You can't do them. I've learned after the first week, I was ravenous, out of my mind, losing my mind because I was trying to eat lots of vegetables and not a lot of calories. I eat quite a bit of calories in this meal, y'all. That one meal that I eat may be 2,000, maybe 2,500 calories in that one meal. I'm going to do that, but I have included color. That's going to be an important part. What Marseille said, you need to have real food in it. Why? Because there's nutrients in that. There's nutrients in it. I got one more clip that I want to play of hers that talks about water. This is a really, really big one. I think this is the one thing that kick-started for me the weight loss again. And so in a week, I've cut, 7, 8 pounds in a little over a week when I was just kind of stuck. This is one of the changes that I made. I added color to my food, that's one. But the second one is this water thing. So watch this clip with me.
And I know I've talked to you about water a lot. And I love when you have a gallon-sized jug and you fill it up for the day, and your goal is to drink that before the day is over. And when you see the gallon-sized jug versus having to refill your same water bottle, because then you're adding another task of, wait, how many times did I fill up my water bottle today, and how many times do I have to do that to get to a gallon? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It kind of gets confusing there, so I would just get a big, huge jug and try to finish that jug by the end of the day.
That's so good.
And obviously in Arkansas, it's hot, it's humid, and whenever the days that you are sweating more, you want to up your water intake.
Sure. That's really good.
What was the question again?
Just anything. I mean, anything that you see that you go, you know what? I'm things that you feel like that need to be considered to try to, because again, here's what I'm doing. I'm going to take these pieces, pray over it, I'm going to lay it out, and I'm going to put together a plan. And I'm going to have this plan. I'm going to say, for instance, the water, gallon of water a day. I think they say, what do you take half your weight in ounces a day? Isn't that right? Isn't that what you're supposed to do? So, which means I'll be in the bathroom constantly. But anyway, that's a whole other thing. But
yeah, I know that isn't. But you can train your bladder. You know that, right? And you can retrain your taste buds too.
So I know this is not revolutionary, the water thing, but here's the deal. When you're intermittent fasting, I did a study, about 20% of your water that you take in comes from your food. So if you're not eating all the time like you were, your water intake requirement goes up. I found myself when I first started intermittent fasting being dehydrated a lot, had a lot of dehydration headaches. I thought it was caffeine, but I was taking in caffeine. I thought maybe it was sugar. No, in that, it's really water. Water is so important. So these things are like 99 cents, and I love these things. This is a great deal. One of these a day is what you need. For me, I've learned to drink water. I'm not naturally a water drinker. I like to drink stuff with flavor in it. I like to drink stuff like coffee. I love to drink teas. I love to drink, I don't drink as many soft drinks as I used to. I do every once in a while. I know some people are like, oh my gosh, you drink a soft drink, you're going to hell. Not really. But the water is a big deal. So this is a big thing because you're not getting food moisture anymore into your body. So you need water. I've also found that if I will drink water, my body releases stuff. That's where the weight loss, a lot of the fat fluid is coming out through your bladder. That's what I found and discovered. So anyway, we're going to probably use some more of Marseille's interview. That's all I want to share with you on that today. What I do want to do is I want to switch gears and I want to talk about worry. And I want to spend just a minute with you discussing worry. And let me tell you why. So for me, this is probably the hardest, most difficult subject that I've come to grips with. Weight loss and worry both connect together, but I want to talk to you about worry even if you don't want to lose any weight. I want to talk to you specifically about how worry affects you. And so let's shift place. Let's go somewhere and let's talk about this for a second, you and me, because I think this is a big deal. So I wanted to talk to you about worry, and let me tell you the reason why. If I could put my finger on any one thing that is stolen from me more than anything else, I would say it would be the issue of worry. I have a book coming out that I've written on this topic extensively, and I honest to goodness believe, I hope this wind isn't too bad. Honestly, I believe it's one of the most important topics that we can talk about, and it's one of the greatest benefits that God gives us in a relationship with Himself, is the freedom from worry. My book, More Than Happy, is going to be released by Black Friday, y'all, and you'll be able to get it. It's going to be on Amazon. You can download it. You can get a copy of it, and I think it's going to be really important. It's something that I had to learn. It's taken me 51 years to learn this, and let me just tell you what happened to me. For years, I told myself, Scott, as soon as you get on the other side of this problem, as soon as we get this solved, you can start living again. And sure enough, we would work and work and work to get on the other side of this problem, adversity, difficulty, conflict, whatever it was. Somebody was mad about something, or something bad was happening, or whatever. And I would put my life on pause while I was dealing with that conflict. And all I would do is focus on that trying to get this thing fixed or settled or solved or done or whatever. And it could be anything, y'all. I mean, it could be anything. And so I thought, well, as soon as I'm done with that, then I'm not going to have to struggle with that, and I'll be able to live again. And my life went on for a pretty good while like that. I had this false idea. You should write this down. I had this false idea that at some point life is settled. Now, I'm going to tell you this because it's probably more important than anything else you're going to ever hear. Life is never settled. It's never all settled down. You're never free from conflict. You're never free from adversity. You're never free from difficulty. No doubt you may be facing one of the larger conflicts that you've faced before in your life, but here's what I'll tell you. If you make the problem and the adversity and the complication you're going through the subject of your life, and you allow yourself to resort to worry, then you're always going to have something to be worried about, and you're always going to have something that's going to cause you to miss out on the life that you were designed to live. I spent years missing out on seeing my kids' faces, missing out on incredible moments, experiencing life change, seeing God do incredible things with people. I missed those things. You want to know why? Because I was so focused on my problem, my worry, my concern, that I was like, I can't focus on anything else. And there would be these little brief vignettes, moments in time when things would be fairly solved and the world seemed fairly okay. It seemed like there wasn't so much unrest. There wasn't this going on or that going on. And I would go, okay, now I can live. And I would enjoy life for these little small spans of time, only to find myself in another calamity right after that. So here's what I want to tell you. If you want to live your life and you want to enjoy what God has for you, then you're going to have to let go of worry. And you say, well, how do I do that? Well, Jesus gives us the absolute ultimate recipe, and it's found in John chapter 14. I want you to listen to what He says. He says, don't let your hearts be troubled. Trust in God. Trust also in me. And that's key. This is it. Here's the issue. The issue is that when I'm in the middle of these conflicts and I'm not living in faith and I'm not living in trust in God, my key problem is I'm not trusting God has this. I'm not trusting God has me. I'm not trusting God has the solution and the answer. I don't trust Him enough for me to surrender it to Him, to give it over to Him. And so what I do is I find myself scurrying around trying to fix it, get it settled down, because one day I would tell myself, it's all going to be settled. Everything's going to be good. I'll give you a prime example. We just came out of the COVID pandemic. For a church, y'all, it was catastrophic. I mean, catastrophic. I can't even put into words how crazy it was. We were ready to completely change everything about church because we're saying, hey, you know what? We're not going to be able to do church as we do it anymore. The church in my lifetime has never shut down. We shut down. I mean, there were so many things. Are we going to be able to keep our staff on? Their families, man, I think about their kids and their homes and everything else. That's a responsibility of mine. That's a commitment of mine. And man, there was this worry and concern. Are we going to be able to still meet the needs of people? Will we be able to keep doing the missions work that we're doing, the food that we give out, the counseling that we give away for free, the ministries that are just all over the place, plus the number of people coming to know Christ? Are we going to be able to do that anymore? Is that going to be a part of this new world that we're going to be living in? That's what I struggled with. And so we came through that, and God, in an amazing way, delivered us. And we're starting to see that season wane. I think, wow, you know what? Things are about to get settled. It's about to get settled again. It's going to be settled. And guess what I get? I get a letter from a guy who says, I'm suing you. I'm suing you in the church. There's a conflict. I don't like something. And I'm like, that's a frivolous thing. It's not. Call my attorney. He's like, no, it's not frivolous. Yeah, it's possible. So here you are. And so here I am in the middle of something else. Guess what? Something to worry about. I thought everything was settled. I felt shortchanged, y'all. Here's what I've learned. And this is from a 51-year-old guy who's had to navigate a really large organization through a lot of different problems. If you let those problems and you let your worry dominate your life, you'll never actually live. And I realize what you're facing right now. You go, Scott, you don't understand. This is really big. I do, but here's what I want you to know. When Jesus says, trust in God, trust also in me, what He's saying is, He's saying the God that I trust is bigger than the circumstances that I'm in. You have to make the decision that you refuse. You absolutely refuse to stop living no matter what it is that you're facing. I'm going to continue to live. I'm going to celebrate my family. I'm going to be in the presence of my children. I am going to celebrate the success stories that are happening, and I'm going to celebrate God's goodness. I'm going to get up in the morning. I'm going to breathe in this fresh air, and I'm going to think about it's fall. I'm going to enjoy the goodness and the good gifts that God is giving, and I refuse to let my life be focused on that one thing or even 5 things that are wrong. I'm going to focus on the goodness of God, and I'm going to focus on what God has given me, and I'm going to live in thanksgiving. That's what I'm going to do. Jesus said, you trust in God, you trust also in me. Here's my greatest issue. Every season that I've come through that's been filled with worry and concern, my greatest issue is I did not trust God during that time. I was only trying to trust me, and when I trust me, I've got to work really hard to make this thing work out and fix it, and I try to be the God of my own universe, and y'all, it is exhausting. From an older guy to a bunch of probably younger people, here's what I want to say. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't try to control everything, man. Put it in the Lord's hands and trust Him. Because here's what I'm going to tell you. If you choose to engage worry on any problem, you will choose to engage worry on every problem. And let me tell you, you will spend your life, you will waste your life in worry. And you can't do that. It's not worth it. There's too many good things around you that will go unseen and uncelebrated when you're spending your whole life worrying. So let's do this. Let's trust in the Lord. Let's trust in what He said. Let's put things in His hands, including our life, our family, and everything else. Put it in His hands, and then let's enjoy what God has given us. Today is the day that the Lord hath made. We will rejoice and be glad in it. I pray that you'll do that, man. It's a worry, horrible thing, horrible way to live. I pray that you'll celebrate with me the day that God's given you today, and I pray that you're going to enjoy it. I really do. I pray that you'll do that. God bless you. Till next time, we'll see you.